Welcome to the RadioU Podcast. Coming up, the Stanley Cup Finals preview you demand.
Also, this woman just exposed why she's single on TikTok.
All that and more on the way next. Thanks for checking out the RadioU Podcast, which is possibly quickly moving into the lane of becoming an anti-sunscreen podcast. We talked about sunscreen yesterday, and little did we both know that neither of us really wears sunscreen hardly ever.
Yep.
Despite doctors' wishes.
Yes.
Experts claiming that it's so necessary.
Dermatologists.
And now there's this story that just further cements to me that I don't need to wear sunscreen. In fact, it could be bad for me.
Excessively could be bad, yes.
Because there's a woman in China, a curious case, where she broke a bone, it appears to be in her shoulder, a bone fracture, simply by rolling over in bed. How does sunscreen come into play with this? Because apparently, since childhood, this woman had avoided sunlight, rarely wore short sleeves, didn't really go outside, and if she did, she would apply copious amounts of sunscreen.
Okay.
And so the doctors are blaming her, she's 48 years old, her low bone density on the fact that she had such low vitamin D levels from not being exposed to the sun at all.
Yeah.
And so she wore sunscreen too much.
Wore too much, and also obviously stopped her, bones from being able to see the sun by covering up herself entirely.
Mm-hmm.
But it says it was so severe that it caused an onset severe case of osteoporosis. Like, this is not good.
Uh-huh.
So I don't think we need to be worried about that when it comes to just applying sunscreen when you're out in the sunshine because you want to protect your skin or whatever. But obviously, we've mentioned this plenty of times with several different topics. Too much of a good thing can be bad.
It can be bad.
Sunscreen is supposed to be a good thing. It's supposed to protect your skin from the sun, which we know can be dangerous in other ways of like skin cancer and UV rays, all of that stuff. But, if you try and go in this route of excessively trying to avoid the sun, you're losing some of its more, valuable nutrients that come to your body from vitamin D and being exposed to sunlight. So, yeah, there's always a downside to being on an extreme.
I feel like even though the doctors in this case kind of are blaming the sunscreen, the excessive sunscreen use, I want to blame something else. And this is another lane that our podcast definitely occupies, and that is pro-outside.
Yeah.
This woman sounds like she didn't go outside enough.
Nope.
In her 48 years on this earth. Get outdoors. Soak up the sun. Maybe add a little sunscreen if you feel that's necessary.
Yeah.
But either way, you gotta be outside. There's so many other benefits too to being outdoors. And so that's my takeaway from this story is it's just another reminder to get out and enjoy nature, enjoy outside, breathe some fresh air, soak up some sun, swim in the pool. It's summertime. Get out there.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? I just realized something because the logo for our show, the RadioU Mornings with Hudson and Alex, is right behind you. And I don't want to call us anti-sunscreen or taking care of yourself with making sure you don't, expose yourself too much to the sun. But I will say we are pro-sun and we're pro-outdoors
yeah,
here
we definitely
at RadioU
are.
Mornings.
It's literally a sun in our logo. And that wasn't, at the time, that wasn't because we were pro-outside, but it's very emblematic of how we are.
It's worked out perfectly. We're just little Miss Sunshines over here.
We're shiny, we're positive, and we love being outdoors in the sun.
I don't know if we're always positive, but we do love the sun.
I try to have the good vibes flowing.
Yeah, I mean,
so
me
that's
too.
why I wanted to spin this into a positive.
Yes.
It's not anti-sunscreen, it's pro-outside.
Yes.
Are McDonald's snack wraps, were they actually this good that people are so excited to have them back? Because the anticipation seems to be very high for the return of the McDonald's snack wrap. And now we know when you'll actually be able to get your hands and your mouth around one.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I've certainly heard a lot about them.
Yeah.
But not from people, from like websites.
This is what I'm trying to figure out. Are we being gaslighted into thinking that everybody loves the snack wrap and has been,
begging,
depressed since it went away in 2020.
I do know some people that absolutely love it, and that includes my mom.
I don't know anybody that I ever remember talking about it, ordering it, mentioning it in any way. And it's not like, there's some menu items, right? That it's like, this was around in the 80s in my childhood,
right,
and I loved it, and I don't know why they never bring it back. This was around in our lifetime.
Yeah, like 5 years ago.
2020, the snack wrap was still a thing at McDonald's. And I always think too, while brands get it wrong sometimes, if it was so popular that people were ordering it all the time, they wouldn't have gotten rid of it.
I don't think that people were ordering it all the time. I certainly never ordered it. But I feel like it's one of those menu items that's like, when you're a mom and you kind of want to eat a little healthier, but your kids still want to eat at McDonald's. Yep. You're like, fine, I'll take my kids to McDonald's and I'll get a snack wrap for myself. Yeah,
because it has lettuce in it. You convince yourself that it's healthier.
Yep.
Well, if you are the type of person that has been waiting, these type of people that we are told exist, that have been counting down the days since McDonald's revealed that the snack wrap was returning at the end of 2024 is when it was first confirmed by their president. We now know the date, July 10th, 2025, just over a month from now. The snack wrap will be back at McDonald's in 2 varieties, spicy and ranch.
Okay. I don't know if I ever tried one, so we might have to do a food fight.
We definitely will have to go ahead and try these to find out what all the hype is about and see if it really is justified. But I have to tell you that this is interesting timing that McDonald's, as they've been talking about this for, again, half a year now, building the anticipation, they announced the date right after Popeyes announces that they're adding chicken wraps to their menu.
Oh.
And here's the thing. I don't care how good and how much fond memories you have of the McDonald's snack wrap. The Popeyes chicken wrap is going to be better. It's going to be better. I'm just looking at the pictures. This is the press pictures of McDonald's chicken wrap. And so this is the best it could possibly look, and it still doesn't look as good as the Popeyes chicken wrap.
Well, you can't base it off of looks. We gotta do a taste test.
That's right. There's been lawsuits over that.
Yeah. When is the Popeyes one coming out?
The Popeyes one is hitting. They already have added it. It started earlier this week.
Well, then you know what we need to do?
A Popeyes chicken taste test?
We need to do McDonald's versus Popeyes.
That's the only right thing to do.
We have to try them back to back to see which one is better.
Mark your calendar. July 10th for a food fight.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not on the weekend. Tomorrow is Nintendo Switch 2 Day. So exciting. 8772 Radio U. But if you're one of those individuals who pre-ordered a Nintendo Switch 2, you might want to check on that.
Yeah.
You might want to take a look-see. You might just want to check in. Because a lot of people that especially ordered from Walmart or Target have now been reporting that their pre-orders were canceled. Mm-hmm. And there's not a whole lot they can do about it. Nope. And what's crazy is seeing some of the stories of like this one person who had been contacted by Walmart with an email that said their pre-order was canceled due to an issue with their card. And so they contacted Walmart support and said, I didn't receive any notice that the transaction was declined or anything. Like there was no reason for that. Why would that happen?
Yeah.
And then Walmart goes, the order has been canceled to a large number of orders.
Okay, why not just be honest from the beginning,
Why
Walmart?
didn't you say that the first time? Or are you just making that up too?
Right. I think they are serious about there being a large amount of orders. Mm-hmm. And that they just do not have the amount of units they need to fulfill those orders.
And to be fair, it's likely that it's not entirely Walmart's fault. Like Nintendo can only has only manufactured so many, and they have to keep all of their retailers happy.
Yep.
But I just don't understand why this seems to happen every time. Every time a new system comes out, whether it's Nintendo or otherwise, but it seems to be particularly bad with Nintendo. Like they've never never launched a pre-order before. Like you're Nintendo. You put out so many gaming consoles over the years. You can't figure out how to do a simple pre-order.
I don't know. I
You
don't know.
don't know that people are going to be excited and going to pre-order it, and you're going to have a lot ready to go?
Yeah, I think that they like the scarcity. I think they enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right, because this just gets it in the news again.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that are upset that this person whose pre-order was canceled for some unknown, for different reasons, according to Walmart, it's not like they're gonna be like, I'm not getting one now.
Yeah.
Like they're still gonna buy one eventually.
They're going to buy one eventually. And because the no came from Walmart and not directly from Nintendo, they probably aren't even blaming Nintendo. They're probably blaming Walmart for messing up their pre-order.
Yeah.
So, yeah, at the end of the day, the people that pre-ordered that their orders are now getting canceled, it's not like they're out money or something like that. They're just going to have to wait and get it at a different time.
Yeah, this is why I feel like I'm a stick in the mud with this, but I'm not a kind of person that would pre-order.
I'm not a person that would get a console in general.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
But what if it was something, let's say it's not a console, but something you're really excited about? Would you ever pre-order something?
Honestly, no.
I can't think of anything I would pre-order now.
Yeah.
Anything that could not be delivered. You know what I mean? I was going to say even music, but like bands will do like, what's it called? GoFundMe, not
pre-saving music or
where it's crowdfunded.
Okay, yeah.
And they get everybody on board, and even then they're like, "Oh, sorry, there's a delay or whatever." Even though people have given them so much money, and like I'm not upset at them for that. It's just like I'm just gonna wait till it's actually ready before I put any money towards it. I don't want to tie up my money.
Yeah, I did one time crowdfund something that was like a game being made, like not a board game, a card game, and I did buy that once it was released, but I did give them like $5 when they were crowdfunding.
I mean, $5.
Yeah,
that's no Nintendo Switch 2.
No, that's not paying hundreds of dollars.
That you're handing over to Walmart or whoever and going, please send me
a
couple months from now. Keep me in mind. And then Walmart's like, no.
Yeah, Walmart's like, yeah, sorry, we don't have enough.
And for some reason, Jimmy over there is a higher priority than you. You got the short end of the stick here, bud.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to wait. No new Mario Kart for you. So this is so crazy. A woman has gone viral on TikTok for showing how she has a spreadsheet, like an Excel doc, that she keeps track of all of her Hinge matches on.
Oh, boy.
And the reason she does is that she keeps track of like all of their the things that you would see on their profile, like their height and their like religion and their politics, whatever is listed on there.
Yeah.
She adds that all in as well. Here's why. She says she switches her city on there and like matches with guys in different cities, and then uses this as a way to see which city has most guys that she's most likely to want to go on dates with, and then like travel and maybe one day move to those cities.
What?
Yeah. She's really meticulous.
Really scientific with this.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is accurate, if this is her exaggerating, but the TikTok where she shows this, she goes, sorry, I can't go out tonight. I have to document 513 men on my dating spreadsheet. 513
matches?
Yeah. So I'm like, congratulations on all your success.
Yeah.
But what is that getting you in the end?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Like, are you actually, and in the end, are you actually going on any dates? Like, she says, for the title of this little spreadsheet, it's called Hinge Research. Well, is it research or is it you trying to find a boyfriend? Like, what are you trying to do here? And I don't know what her end goal is. I
think in her mind, it's both. She's researching where she's most likely to find a boyfriend. But to me,
that seems so backwards, though. Where? Like, why not just try and get to know people genuinely?
I think she's you're getting too much in your own head about this.
Yeah, like what's so important about this data of finding the right city versus, just genuinely getting to know these men that have matched with you?
And then now maybe I can see it this way. Maybe you're like, yeah, I want to date or whatever, but I also like to go on like trips. And so you're like, where should I go on my trip? well, let me see which town has the most guys for me to choose from if I go visit there. I can see that, but that's not how it's exactly presented.
Yeah.
And if this is truly like your approach as this woman to try to find the perfect guy, and you just have to find which city to start in and then go from there, I do think, yeah, you're spending so much time collecting data that you're missing out on the experience of getting to know anybody.
Yeah, I feel like this is just a misuse of a dating app, which we see that all the time.
Yeah.
So it's not shocking. But yeah, I just feel like you're not genuinely trying to get to know anybody if you're just, your plan is to do research to find what city to go to. Like, why?
It's like a spreadsheet of choice paralysis to me.
Exactly. And that's my biggest issue with dating apps is it ultimately leads to choice paralysis if you let it. Because if you don't let it lead to choice paralysis, there's ways that it could work. I know people that have found significant others, people that they're married to or are getting married to through dating apps. So they can work, but not this way. This is a guaranteed failure. Like, if you want to try and focus more on, like, let me see all these statistics I can write down.
Spending this time documenting these guys, and if they're good guys, by the time you actually meet them, they're not going to be single anymore.
Well, I don't know about that, but like you're diminishing their value by just being like, they're another stat line on my research, Google sheet or Excel sheet.
And I love spreadsheets, but just not for this.
Yeah, I like spreadsheets.
I love
too.
keeping track of stats, making lists. I live that life.
Yes.
But this is the one place where
just
it doesn't
don't do
make
it
sense.
with people.
Have millennial baby names gone too far? 8772 Radio U. Let us know your thoughts on this. It's kind of come to a head because on TikTok somebody posted a video where the caption literally is, some of y'all need to remember you're naming electricians, not celebrities. As millennials age into the generation that's having a lot of kids and like they're responsible for naming them now, apparently people think that their names are getting too out of hand, too creative. Some examples given here. Somebody that named their two twins Poetry and Locket.
Yes, this is a celebrity, I believe, that named them this, which is not shocking. Celebrities have been naming their kids weird things forever. And then the other example that this article gives is Nara Smith, who I will agree has very strange names for her children. Whimsy Lou, Rumble Honey, and Slim Easy.
They sound like wrestlers.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
But I will point out, while Francesca Farraga, who named her twin babies Poetry and Locket, is a millennial, Nara Smith is 23.
Okay.
She is fully Gen Z
Yeah,
here.
so why are the millennials getting the blowback here?
Exactly.
Although they are primarily probably responsible for the kids these days.
Yeah, but the stats still show like the top girl names and top boy names are still pretty regular names. Like, listen to this. Olivia, Amelia, and Sophia. Top three girl names right now.
Classics.
For boys, Noah, Liam, and Oliver. Top three boy names. Those are normal names. So I think people are overreacting here. Like, they see these celebrity names or these social media influencer names, and they're like, what are you doing? And I agree. What are you doing? Slim Easy? Come on. But for the most part, everyone is still naming their kids pretty normal.
They're fairly normal, and I don't want to overreact to this either because, like, they're the ones having the kids.
Yeah.
So they can name it what they want.
Yeah.
You don't have to like it.
You don't have to like it, but I will agree. I've always felt this way. You can hurt your child by giving them a bad name.
Go on.
Like, you can get your kid bullied.
Well,
there's a way to make things worse for your kid.
Kids will find something to bully about if they want to find something to bully about, whether it's Whimsy Lou or whether it's, because you wear glasses. It's harder to bully a
John versus a Whimsy Lou.
No, they wouldn't. They just say he stinks or something. No, or they just say Porta John or something like that. See, there's one right off the top of my head.
I get what you're saying. But
I'd be a really good bully.
But you would be. But to me, the thing that kids like to do when they bully is they like to bully what stands out. And when you have a very unique name that stands out, like Slim Easy or Whimsy Lou or Rumble Honey, are you ready to rumble, honey? Like, it's easier. You're an easier target.
You know what you're doing then? You're creating toughness. You're helping your child already be prepared.
The last thing that these parents care about is toughness with their gentle parenting.
You need to be comfortable standing out. Like, so many people just want to blend in. That's not what you need. Plus, if you're a kid, honestly, Rumble Honey, the coolest time to have that name would be as a kid. Other elementary schoolers would think you're the coolest kid in class if your name is Rumble Honey. They're like, I'm just Melissa, but that's Rumble Honey. They'd be jealous of you.
No kid is being named Melissa right now. But
whatever.
But Rumble Honey, I don't know. I don't have any issue. I think people are overreacting with, being like, millennials are out of hand.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of these names are coming from Gen Z parents now. But I don't think you need to worry that this is somehow going to change this generation of children that are being born now. For the most part, you're still going to run into Olivia's. You're still going to run into Liam's in the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. Name your kid what you want.
Yeah.
It's not our business.
It really isn't. But again, you can hurt your child. You can.
So, yeah. The Stanley Cup Finals kick off tonight. What better time than now for a Stanley Cup Finals preview?
Yeah, I've been excited to hear your thoughts because I know the one Canadian team you didn't want to cheer for is the only one left standing.
Well, there's two Canadian teams I don't want to cheer for. The other is the Maple Leafs. But we know they wouldn't get this far.
You said you'd be okay with the Maple Leafs and you'd be okay with who was the other team? Was it the Flames or the Canadians?
The Jets were around. I was rooting for the Jets.
Okay.
Pulling for the Jets.
Rooting for the Jets, but at the end, you were for sure saying you did not want the Edmonton Oilers.
I will not be pleased if the Oilers win. And I feel like I'm actually in the minority. But 8772 Radio U, let us know if you're cheering for the Edmonton Oilers and for Canada, or if you're cheering for the Florida Panthers to go back to back. Here's the interesting storyline of this Stanley Cup Finals, which is a rematch of last year's finals, which the Panthers, if I remember right, they went up 3-0. Then the Oilers won 3 straight, and then the Panthers won in Game 7 to win the Cup.
A nuts finals right there.
Yeah.
That is absolutely crazy, and I'm sure many are hoping for a similar type of drama in this series.
Yeah, I think I'll tell you one thing. I think this series is going to be longer and more competitive than the NBA Finals, for whatever that's worth. Okay. But the storyline is it's a rematch of last year's finals. What's interesting is Connor McDavid, his nickname is literally McJesus. He's seen as like the next NHL like superstar, like the next LeBron of the NHL.
Yeah, the next Wayne Gretzky.
The last LeBron of the NHL was Sidney Crosby, who's still around in the league, but like he was the next Wayne Gretzky. So go back to Wayne Gretzky. The first time he was in the Stanley Cup Finals, he lost. Then the next year, Stanley Cup Finals rematch against the same team, the Islanders, he won to get his first Stanley Cup.
Wow. Imagine if he's able to copy that.
And that was with the Oilers.
Yeah.
Then we mentioned Sidney Crosby, who was the next superstar, the next like on that level of Wayne Gretzky. And he lost his first finals. Next year in the finals, gets back, rematch, Detroit Red Wings, and the Penguins win. He wins. So now the table is set for Connor McDavid to do the exact same thing.
Oh, boy.
Lost his first Stanley Cup Finals, his first crack at the can, and then comes back and gets a rematch against the very same team. And so he's got the chance to follow in the very close footsteps of Sidney Crosby and Wayne Gretzky, who are some of the all-time greats.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting if he's able to complete that. Also, of course, a chance to give Canada its first Stanley Cup since 1993.
Wow. That's a while. That's like 32 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 32 years. And all that said, it's a complete coin flip, like the betting odds, like it's very evenly split down the middle. Although I've heard way more people thinking the Oilers are going to win. They do seem to have an advantage of like they are, if you look at their roster up and down, especially offense with having Connor McDavid, they seem to be more talented. The one area where you would think the Panthers would have a bit of an advantage is in goal. But in last year's finals, the Oilers goalie Stuart Skinner actually played better than Sergei Bobrovsky, even though the Panthers did wind up winning. And so a lot of the stuff seems stacked towards the Oilers, but the Panthers are going to win.
You're still going Panthers.
I'm going Panthers.
Are you going Panthers in 7?
Panthers in 6.
In 6?
Yeah.
I thought you said you thought this series was going long.
Yeah, longer than the NBA Finals, but that could be a sweep for all we know.
No, it's not going to be a
This is going to be a
sweep.
close series.
Okay, I do agree that this is going to be a close series because it was a close series last time. And I do think that, in a sense, both of these teams have, like, improved, but in equal ways, you know? And so, like, they're still very much on the same level. But I'm going Oilers in 7.
Okay, that would be fun for a lot of people.
Yeah.
For most of Canada. And let's say they deserve it.
Yeah, 32 years? That's a long time.
Just talking about how the Stanley Cup Finals kick off tonight, the NBA Finals get going tomorrow, and what we're all waiting for in these series is for, like, some player to take his team on his shoulders and just carry them to a win.
Yeah.
We've seen that. You see that so many times throughout the playoffs where it just seems like one player comes alive when the team needs it most. And even though it just takes the spotlight and takes over the game.
Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
He's been that throughout the entire playoffs so far.
He's done that several times for the Pacers, and Pascal Siakam too had a couple games like that. And on the other side, it was the New York Knicks. It was Jalen Brunson taking over games.
Yep.
And just putting the team, what do they say? They put the team on their shoulders.
Put them on their back.
Yeah, and just carry them to a win. And what I feel is that for many of us, we try to carry a lot of things on our shoulders. We have these issues. And this is so crazy to me that certainly if you're not somebody with a relationship with God, but even if you are, you have things in your life that you probably don't realize that you're like, well, I know that God could handle this, but I feel like this is a me thing, you know?
I can't give it up.
Yeah, you feel like this is a you thing, or like you're looking at some problem in the world and like you're really, it doesn't necessarily even affect you, but you're still, like, you see people suffering or whatever, and like this is something, like you kind of put that issue on your back as like you put a lot of stress on your shoulders, like it's something you have to deal with.
Yeah.
But whatever the issue is, I feel like each of us have at least one thing where it's like we just need to realize that we don't have to carry this on our shoulders, that God is that hero, that God is that star player that's able to come in and put every single problem on his back and deal with that so that you don't have to feel the weight of that, so that you don't have all that pressure of having to perform. It's God that's going to take that pressure off of you.
He already did that. Isn't that crazy? It's like we kind of have to reiterate that in our minds all the time because we do convince ourselves that we need to kind of shoulder these issues on our own and deal with these problems by ourselves. But Christ already did that. He already bore the cross for every single one of us. And any struggle that you're going through, you do need to give it up to God. And often it is a control thing where we think we need to kind of hold on to it because we don't want to give up control. But let me be frank with you. There's the only time that we experience true freedom in life is when we give up control to God.
Right.
That's the only real freedom we can experience. We think that when we have to have freedom is we have to control our life and control every aspect of it. The freeing thing that comes with a relationship with God is giving that up. You don't need to shoulder it. You don't need to have control of it. Give it over to God who already has taken the brunt of all of that stuff by the act of the cross.
And maybe it's because for some of us, like, we want the credit. You know, you want, if it's some issue, you want to be able to, when it's over, whether you, again, a lot of this is subconscious, but it's just like, I want to be able to say, I got through this.
Yeah, I did it on my own.
I want to be the hero. Or I just don't want to burden everybody else with this. Or, you know, there's so many reasons
that's
that
a big part too.
We can be reluctant to hand stuff over, but the best thing you can do is give up control, give up feeling like you have to hold on to this yourself, and it's something that you need to deal with, and let God deal with it for you. Let God deal with it with you.
Yeah.
Start talking to Jesus about that. It's not your fight. It's Would You Rather Wednesday. Let us know at 8772 Radio U. Would you rather fight a kangaroo or an ostrich? We've got some good thoughts coming in, some good responses. We'll start with Brandon, who says, I'm taking an ostrich down with the quickness.
Heard from Regina. She says, I don't think either would go well, but I guess I'll go kangaroo because at least I can kick. I have a lot of issues with my hands and arms, so I don't really want to have to be blocking attacks from the ostrich.
That's right. The ostrich would be going high.
Yeah.
And a kangaroo might be lower center of gravity.
Maybe, but also kangaroos can stand really tall. Like the kangaroo that inspired this all, which was very aggressive with its love for my cousin Kathy, they said stood 6 foot tall.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
but also intimidating.
Yeah, they can be pretty tall. So just a heads up there, guys.
Well, Logan says, I'd fight a kangaroo. I'm a heck of a good boxer. That would probably help you against both, honestly. Though.
Yeah, that's true.
Having any fighting skills.
Yes. Heard from Jeff. He said, ostrich. I've seen those pics online of the jacked up kangaroo. I bet they can throw down.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about, Jeff.
I do too.
I'm with you. Both are scary. Both animals are scary to me, but the he said it right. The jacked kangaroos, those are intimidating.
Yeah, those do seem to be only in the Australian wild, though. So unless you're in Australia, unless you're not going to Australia, you probably don't have to worry about it.
Philip says ostrich would bury its head or run. Kangaroo would hit back. So he's going. It sounds like he's going fighting against the ostrich.
Okay, I'm gonna go. We heard Andrew. He said he doesn't feel great about either, but he'll go with ostrich. I don't want to know what a kangaroo kick feels like.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good point. They've got some strength behind those legs.
Can they actually do this, or is it just in the cartoons where they can lean back on their tail and use that to hold them up and then
kick with their legs? I don't know. I've never seen
their
video.
Tails are strong.
Yeah, I've never seen video of it, but I believe their tails are probably pretty strong. Mm-hmm. And also, I think you could also worry about getting hit with their tail.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Could
could swing it around and hit you.
I don't think that's the first thing I'd worry about.
Yeah.
But that is another concern.
It's another component.
I'm going ostrich. Allie, you grew up in Africa. Did you see ostriches there?
Yes.
Would you want to fight one?
No, but I think in the grand scheme of these two choices, I probably would go ostrich as well. But you can give your reasons first.
I think with an ostrich, I have one thing to worry about, and that's keeping it from pecking my eyes.
Yeah.
It's got one method of attack that I can picture. Obviously, its wings, its body's not going to do anything. Its legs aren't really built to kick, right?
I've never seen it kick before, but it does have some pointy, toe talon things.
Also, I've you see videos of ostriches running around. I feel like they're kind of clumsy. If they try to they have a weird body type.
They definitely do.
That I think makes them clumsy, and so I feel like if I can shield my eyes from them pecking my eyes, I either go for the legs and kind of take them down that way, even though I'm sure their legs are strong.
They're very strong,
Or if I can get behind it and go for the throat, I think I can incapacitate an ostrich. And I don't know what method of attack I would go against a kangaroo.
You just
I feel like they've got me in all facets. They're bigger than me, stronger than me, faster than me, more agile. I wouldn't be able to get behind it like a good angle. So I would not want to get into a fight with a kangaroo, even though I have seen videos too of kangaroos in Australia, attacking dogs or whatever, and a farmer will just come up and clock it on the jaw.
Yeah, and then
but that's not me.
Stunned.
I don't have that. I don't have Mike Tyson power behind my punch.
Yeah, I would agree that I don't want to get in a fist fight, and so I feel like the less likely option of getting in a fist fight would be to take on the ostrich. Although I am kind of scared of ostriches because there's something creepy about them.
Yeah.
They've got
the eyes.
They've got those googly eyes.
Yeah.
But I also feel like I don't want to fight a kangaroo because for the most part, what I've seen from kangaroos, other than those weird ones from Australia, they seem very friendly and fluffy and just happy.
I don't think a kangaroo wants to fight me.
Yeah.
Where I've been to drive-through safaris myself. The ostriches, if you have food, they do want to fight.
They're ready to throw down.
Yeah. So that does make them intimidating.
Yes.
But ostrich it is. It has the RadioU morning stamp of approval.
Hudson, I have another Carly softball update.
Yeah, your cousin. Last we checked, Undefeated at softball.
Undefeated in her
a
softball league.
Softball league where they don't keep score.
Except I do. I keep score. I'm the statistician over here for the team. They're called the Legends, if you remember. And yes, they are undefeated now, 5 games in. Undefeated, 5-0. And here's her stat line from last night's game. And then I'll give you the score for the game after that. She was 6 for 6.
Wow.
2 RBI, 4 runs.
Nice.
The team won 25-7.
Oh, no.
They are absolutely clobbering everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, they are just way more, I don't know if you want to say efficient. I don't know. They just get them on, get them over, and get them in.
They got the fundamentals down.
They really do.
They've nailed the fundies.
I mean, they are just beating these teams relentlessly. I mean, at first you thought this game started with us being the away team. So we batted second.
Yeah.
And the team comes up. We have a bad defensive inning for the top of the first, and they score 4 runs, which, again, they cap you at 5. So we did get 3 outs, which is good because you don't always get 3 outs in these games.
Yeah.
But they got the 3 outs, and but the coach was he was dogging on them. He's like, all right, we need to pay better attention to what we're doing because there were several moments where we should have gotten easy outs and we didn't.
Focus.
Yeah. So
know where your play is.
Exactly. Those are exactly the things that they're teaching them right now. And they played great the rest of the way, only gave up 3 runs and obviously went crazy on the offense because they scored. They only played 5 innings.
Yeah.
They scored 5 every single time.
Didn't you say 27?
No, it was 25-7.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, 25-7. So they scored the limit of runs you could get in 5 innings.
Sheesh. I feel like they need to be promoted to a different softball league at this point.
Several of these players, I believe, will be moving up into the next level because once they age out of this, they have to go to the level that is player pitch and it's fast pitch because this is
so a lot of walks.
Lots of walks. That's the issue. And so I told Christy, my cousin Christy, she knows this too because we have several friends that are already up in that higher league and they know that it's just a walk fest. But I told her, I was like, yeah, we're not going to see these stats from Carly next year because she's just not going to get the same amount of good pitching.
No, yeah, the pitches to hit.
Yeah.
They're going to be pitching around her.
Yeah.
Unintentionally.
Honestly, they might because she's almost batting 900.
Yeah.
Like her stats are nuts for this season.
Her OPS has got to be through the roof.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what? Let them know. Softball World Series is going on.
Yeah.
They maybe should be there.
I wish they could. I don't think they're involved in that league that gets, to play for those things. But, man, they're a great team. They truly are legendary.
I heard Oklahoma already got taken out. Maybe Carly's team
could take their place.
Could be next, yes. I have good news and bad news about Disney World. The good news is it's getting its very first totally new land in several years.
Okay.
It's going to be themed all around the Cars movies. They're calling it Piston Peak National Park.
Okay.
So think back to the first Cars movie where they're cruising like Route 66 and it's Lightning McQueen and what's the name of the gal? The female car, Sally. And they're like, racing through the desert somewhere. Like it's going to be, think of that.
Okay.
And they're turning that into the whole land at Disney World.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So think like Arizona, Utah.
Zion National Park, which Sydney just sent a picture. She's been vacationing there, apparently.
It's gorgeous down there.
That's literally what they're trying to recreate. In fact, they literally say that in Piston Peak, since they're going to try to make it look like exude that kind of area.
Yeah.
That what they are doing is the buildings are going to be built with what they call in a style they call parkitecture, which was created at our national parks that are buildings that are supposed to blend in with the landscape and the surroundings.
Yeah.
So they don't take away from like the beauty of, whatever it is. And if you go to a lot of national parks, you'll notice that.
Yes.
The buildings are very like unique and cool looking, but also
they blend in.
They fit the landscape. And so that's what they're going to try to do with the buildings that they put in Piston Peak National Park at Disney World.
I have to say, the map that's like the drawing of it, it looks really cool. But also, I think this announcement is very strategic
Why do you say that?
because Epic Universe at Universal is going off right now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm seeing so many clips and so many things from that.
Don't they have the new Mario world there now?
They've got
Nintendo?
Mario. They've got a lot of stuff with Harry Potter, obviously. So expanded Harry Potter world, which is like the Wizarding world. And that's been a huge destination for them with Universal. And now they also have the, I don't know what it's called, but it's a part of the park that is How to Train Your Dragon theme.
Okay.
And I'm seeing lots
Good
of clips
timing
from
with
that.
that, yeah.
And it actually looks really cool. And so I think this is very strategic where they're like, all right, Universal's really upping their game with their theming. And so we need to as well.
Yeah. I said I had good news and bad news.
What's the bad news?
Well, the bad news is to put this in, they have to close some attractions.
I mean, that's expected. You only have a limited amount of space at Disney. And this is at Disney World?
This is at Disney World, where they do have much more space.
Yeah.
But that is bad news if you're planning to go anytime after July 7th. Unfortunately, you won't be able to partake in the Rivers of America, Tom Sawyer Island, or the Liberty Square Riverboat.
So they're getting rid of all of that stuff?
They're temporarily closing it. I don't think it's going away forever.
Okay. But they need to use that space to create Cars Land.
If I'm being honest, I've been to Disneyland, Disney World 3 times. I don't know if I've been on any of those once.
I don't think I have either.
They're not. I didn't even know Tom Sawyer Island was there.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of cool. You know, it's like an American thing. You know, Tom Sawyer. Dang it, the name Mark Twain. You know, but yeah, I think those things, they're not going to be incredibly missed. Yeah, probably.
Even if they went away forever. Yeah. Would anyone shed a lot of tears?
I'm glad that they're not going away forever. That's what I'm always worried about when they open new things is that stuff gets the axe. Yeah. You know, but it sounds like they're just going to try and work around with what space they have.
Last thing on this too is, has any Disney movie gotten like more run, more like legs out of it versus compared to how good it is? The ratio of how much like Cars stuff is out in the world versus how good the movies are is so off.
I think the first Cars movie is one of my favorites.
The first Cars movie is okay.
Well, just okay?
It's fine for a Pixar movie.
No, it's
2 and 3
good.
are bad.
I would agree with you that 3 is bad, but I do think 2 is tolerable.
We're going to need your verdict on this one at 8772 Radio U. Our defendant, Aldi. Some people call it Aldi's. The Aldi's. Aldi, the grocery store, is being sued. The plaintiff, Mondelez International, most known for their Nabisco products. They're the parent company of Nabisco, so they make Oreos, Nutter Butters, Chip-Ahoys, Wheat Thins, Ritz crackers, etc., etc.
Lots of things.
Mondelez is suing Aldi, claiming that Aldi's packaging was, quote, likely to deceive and confuse customers. They say it's threatened to irreparably harm Mondelez and its brands. The company is seeking Mondelez, seeking monetary damages and a court order that would stop Aldi from selling products that infringe on its trademarks. You might be wondering, what does Aldi have to say about all this?
Yeah, what do they have to say?
So far, nothing.
Oh, okay.
They're silent, haven't even acknowledged it. Granted, this literally was just filed yesterday in Illinois. This is brand new, hot off the presses, but Mondelez claiming that Aldi's store brand cookies and crackers blatantly copies some of the classic Mondelez products that we just mentioned: Oreo, Chips Ahoy, Nutter Butter, Ritz, etc., etc. So you be the judge. Is Aldi ripping off Mondelez? Are they likely to cause irreparable damage and harm to the Mondelez brand?
Yeah.
And should Aldi have to stop copying them and actually pay over some money to Mondelez, Nabisco, Oreo, etc.?
We'll see.
8772 Radio U. You be the judge. Let us know your verdict on this case. Maybe we can save the court system in Illinois a lot of time. if we can get this solved right here, right now.
Yeah, we got that power, guys.
Let us know your thoughts. We heard from Regina, who says ridiculous, not guilty. We also heard from Jeff, who says it's not proprietary, right? As long as they don't rip off their logo, copyright, or trademark. So, in other words, like the Aldi stuff is close, but it's not actually close enough, right, for it to be considered a trademark infringement.
Yeah, for it to be considered the same. And this is not new. Like, this has been going on for a long time. Like, generic dupes of, products that are more expensive from these other brands. All sorts of grocery stores do this. Walmart, Kroger, Aldi. And so, yeah, I think this is kind of ridiculous that they're getting up in arms about this now. Susanna, she says, that's what store brands always do. She goes, #I stand with Aldi.
We also heard from Logan, who says, my verdict is agreeing with Aldi. If you look at the packages side by side, there's not any similarities between the two. We do have the benefit here, Ali, of we have side by side pictures looking at the knockoff Aldi brand Nutter Butter, Chips Ahoy, and Oreos. And while they are very similar, they are not, to me, the exact same.
Okay,
they're not close enough.
Where are the pictures that are next to one another? I don't see them.
In the other link.
Oh, okay.
That's right next door. I don't think that they are close enough. I will say Aldi is... Other store brands will have their own packaging that's kind of consistent. Yeah. Whereas Aldi does go the route of really kind of mimicking so you know what you're getting. Right. A little more of an extreme. I think Aldi would admit that, but I don't think it ventures into the confusion territory.
No, these are definitely very different, and they don't have a brand on them. All they have on them is a description of what it is. So like the Nutter Butters, it has Nutter Butter. On the dupe, it says peanut butter cream. Like it just tells you what it is. The only same thing that you could conclude from it is that they use the same color of packaging, but they can't even use the same designs, none of that. Like that's all trademarked. So I don't think there's any confusion here at all.
Yeah. I don't like Tucker, who came in and said, hilarious because Oreo cookies are actually a ripoff of Hydrox cookies.
Oh.
And Oreo has been a subject of I know that Oreo has been a subject of lawsuits from Hydrox.
Really?
Which is still around, but obviously way less known. Yeah. For that very reason.
And that's why I feel like a lot of these companies try to get away with these lawsuits is because they want, their brand name to obviously stand out, but they want to use their brand name to kind of bully and push people around. Yeah. Even when there's not a lot of legs to stand on when it comes to an actual lawsuit here. Yeah. To say that Aldi did anything wrong.
I don't think a lot of people, if any, are walking into. You'd have to not be able to read.
Yeah. Or just not be able to see at all.
Yeah, because you go into Aldi, you see the Oreo knockoffs. They don't say Oreo anywhere on it. So you know what you're getting, but you know it's not Oreo.
Yes.
So not guilty. Aldi's off the hook.
Thanks for listening to the RadioU Podcast. Don't forget to rate and review the show.